Hey, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon based on your time zone. This is SR, and I welcome each and every one of you on behalf of Edureka, and welcome to this exciting webinar of big data using Talend, which is also popularly called in our forum as Swiss knife for the non-programmer in the big data industry. So I'm very excited, pretty excited to welcome each and every one of you. We are expecting a few more registration very soon. So we would be get the webinar starting in another 2 or 3 minutes. And you'll be glad to know that we have a tremendous response for this webinar as usual, like we used to do. And we were a little busy, and since a month we were not conducting any webinar because we were busy taking up all the batches, and we are getting enrolled batch after batch because a lot of people are interested to learn big data without any matrix programming, and that's exactly the pain point that we are addressing through this course. So let me give a very short brief how this webinar is going to fold out in the next 30 minutes. The initial 15 to 20 minutes we are going to spend on I'm going to spend on explaining you how this course works, why this course, which area does it address, how do you seamlessly integrate the application with big data without doing any coding, and how does any non-prerequisites, any non-programmer without any prerequisites, you can be successful in the big data booming industry. Then after 20-25 odd minutes, followed by we would go through industry use case, which I had prepared specially for you using the hands-on from my previous industry project experience. Okay, it's a typical banking use case. How does banking industry taking the help of the state-of-the-art technology in order to address their pain areas? Yeah. Then followed by I have dedicated 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes question and answer round session, but that is not limited to you to pop your questions only in the chat window. What you can do, if you have something specific in your mind, you can write them right now. I will just have all the questions listed, and I'll try answering. I can promise you, at least I'll try answering more than 90% of the question. I will keep on looking at the question, but we will take up most of the question towards the end of the session. All right. Okay. A very small introduction about me. This is SR. I'm almost having a decade experience in the industries of ETL, business intelligence, big data analytics, data science. Yeah. This is one of the area which is emerging really fast, and it is addressing not only the challenges by business in terms of the data integration, but it also addresses the challenges in big data. One of the major reasons why this kind of areas are really seamlessly getting integrated with the existing organization is many of the people, they find really hard, first of all, to learn MapReduce programming. Second, existing pool of resources, no one wants to make them redundant. Everyone wants to utilize the vast amount of experience. That's exactly where Talend for big data comes into picture, where your existing knowledge on integration, or if you learn this integration tool or capability also, you straight away utilize it on the big data rather than learning 5 or different technologies. Okay. So having said all that, as I said, you can keep on popping up your question. So I welcome all of you again on behalf of Edureka. Let's go. Let's rock and roll. Let's start the webinar. Okay. The objective of the session will to take you through after the end of the session. Understand how does ETL is complementing the Hadoop ecosystem. Adapt to the ETL big data industry. Understand why Talend is used with big data. Learn big data. That's what Talend is assuring that they are claiming that big data learning is not in months, it's in minutes. And you would be really amazed to see the use case that we have picked up for this webinar. And why learning Talend would be the most logical decision for all the data enthusiasts. Doesn't matter which industry or what background you come from. If you do anything that deals with data or touch upon on data, then surely you should take an interest. Understand the use case, the banking industry use case, and implement the Talend job with the Hadoop. Yeah. Now this is one of my favorite slides, to be honest. What is exactly this, and how does this application work, right? So it's a graphical abstraction layer on top of Hadoop application, and this makes life so easy in the big data buzz world. The surprising stuff about the current buzz and the question heralding the end of the ETL and even the data warehousing is the lack of, to be very honest, the lack of pushback and analysis of some of the outlandish comments that they have made on the internet, so-called Internet of Things. Now this gentleman who is really puzzled and confused with a typical assertion that Hadoop eliminates the need of ETL, that is not going to happen. The reason is these two areas, they complement each other. We very soon will see who are the industry leader, how they are merging these two areas, and they are trying to take the most benefit out of it in the forthcoming slides. Yep. Now, what no one seems to question in response of this sort of comment is the naive assumption these statements are based on. It's not realistic, first of all, to move all of your data entirely into Hadoop without any pain areas, right? So there are also pain areas, and we will also address those questions during the session. All right. Now ETL with big data, how is it coming around, right? You have machine data, you have transactional data, or whether you talk about your business application data. Once any ETL tool which is full-fledged capable of complementing any big data or Hadoop technology, it will simply extract and load, whether you talk about Scoop or whether you talk about Flume, doesn't matter. Everything is there within the ballgame of Talend. So finally, it extracts the data, transforms it, and loads it within the territory of Hadoop, right? And ultimately, it does big data. Now, continuing on the same phenomenon, is writing ETL script in MapReduce code is still ETL? Yes. Now, is ETL running faster in few cases and slower in others? And all these things on Hadoop eliminating ETL? Absolutely not. Now, is introduction of Hadoop changing when, where, and how ETL happens? Yes, exactly. So the question is not really that we are eliminating ETL. No. But where does ETL take place? How are we changing its definition, and how is it complementing now the changing and ever-growing big data industry? Some of you might be familiar, some of you might not be with ETL terminologies: extraction, transformation, load. So in any big data area or any typical Hadoop which is running on MapReduce programming or which is running on simple Apache Hadoop, in those cases also you have to get the data from somewhere, and if required you apply the business transformation and then you load the data somewhere, right? But trust me, in order to do that basic to basic job also, you end up writing so much of code, and then debugging, maintaining, and finding out, doing root cause analysis. All these things becomes nightmare sometimes when the project takes the shape from a very small scale area to a complex and large scale area, right? We will also talk about that, how Hadoop, how Talend along with Hadoop is also addressing those challenges. This is one of my favorite slide again. Now, how learning Talend with the big data is addressing major business problem. Okay, it's a combination of ETL and Hadoop. The primary reason is Talend is a mixture of, or it's a stack, complete stack of all these products. It is having data integration, It is with big data, there's data quality, there's master data management, there's enterprise service bus, there is also a new entrant as business process management. When these complete powerful set combined with the superpower of Hadoop, they make wonder. How? This is how. You get one-stop solution. It's an open source ecosystem, and as far as my knowledge goes, if you talk about standard tools or quality tools in market, I think Talend is doing the best in terms of serving the open source Apache community. You can simply download the software. There is no licensing issue. You can just use it. The Open Studio version, you can just use it to do hands-on, to do build cases, to do POC. There is no restriction. Absolutely, there is no restriction and no expiration. How cool is that? Now, this improves the efficiency of big data job design with the graphical user interface, abstract and generate the code, run transforms inside the Hadoop with the native support of HDFS, Scoop, HBase, Mahout, Pig, Hive, and MapReduce code generate, right? And there's an Apache license to Apache license to embedded in the, okay, the use case that we would be generating is with the Hortonworks data platform. The use case that we would be demonstrating today is with the Hortonworks data platform. Now, what you see on your current slide is all the market leaders or the industry pioneers in the Hadoop or big data area. You see Hortonworks, you see Mapper, you see Cloudera. All of them are the market leaders, and you would be glad to know that they all have done official partnership with Talend. There's an easy solution, easy game that everyone wants to stay ahead in the big data game. Okay, so now they also want their product to sell faster and with the easy and convenience way, right? Lot of business, lot of enterprise, they are requesting that is there an easier way to implement Hadoop? Is there easier way to scale up the existing resource pool? Is there easier way to maintain it? Is there easier way to do stuff? This is where exactly what is addressing the pain area. You see Uzi, you talk about Hive, you talk about Scoop, you talk about HBase, everything is there within Talend. This is how a typical Talend screen look like. Talend Studio for big data is something that we will be using for our demonstration of the use case today, and the entire setup that we will be using for our hands-on or a demo is a freeware, like we have set it up completely with the proper compatibility and configuration. Now this is what Talend is claiming, because the more connected the world becomes, the more quickly a business must adapt. So when you talk about this drag and drop technology or more connectivity, this is an area where Talend is fantastic. Okay, you ask for area connectivity or areas like XML, complex XML, unstructured data. There is again one more pain area in big data. If there is unstructured data, Talend handles these kind of data so beautifully. Okay, you talk about any kind of database, Talend has connectivity. Okay, so almost most of the area gets seamlessly integrated with Talend with ease. Now, why I should work on Talend? This is an obvious question for all of you, those who would have probably joined this webinar, or all our participants who are also enrolling into our batches, and by the time they finish up the project and get certified, they are so much satisfied and happy that they never imagined that they could have also learned this big data industry, big data area stuff with the use of a tool which is so easy to use. And not only it addresses the big data area, it also addresses all the painful data integration challenges, data reading challenges, unstructured data analysis, and more or less it also does basic business intelligence connectivity. How cool is that? Talend is the only graphical user interface tool which is capable enough to translate any ETL job into the MapReduce job. Thus, Talend ETL job gets executed as a MapReduce job on Hadoop and get the big data done in minutes. That's it. And now this is one of the key innovation which helps reduce the entry barriers in the big data technology, whether you are a fresher, whether you are an experienced person, whether you come from the people management capability, whether you are a technical architect, doesn't matter. If you don't know MapReduce programming, doesn't matter. Now that addresses the most of the entry barrier challenges in big data technology and allows the ETL job developer, beginner or advanced, doesn't matter, to carry out the data warehouse offloading to a greater extent. Now one of the best part is it's Eclipse-based graphical workspace. Talend Open Studio for Big Data, it enables the developer, the data scientist to leverage the Hadoop loading and processing technology of HDFS, HBase, Hive, Mahout without having to write Hadoop application code. Please underline that statement. Why should you take interest in this course? Because you do not have to do any MapReduce programming. Alright, Hadoop application seamlessly integrates with Talend just in minutes. By simply selecting graphical components from the palette and arranging and configuring them, you can just create Hadoop jobs in minutes using Talend. Now these are some of the basic steps. You load the data into HDFS, Hadoop distributed file system, use the Hadoop-big to transform the data in HDFS, load the data into the Hive, perform your ELT or ETL, and then you can also leverage the scoop functionality to integrate relational database to Hive. Again, one of my favorite slides, which shows the combined power of Talend with Hadoop, and that is something that we are going to work on and do our use case hands-on. That is on Talend Open Studio for Big Data version 5.5. All right. Okay, I am making a due note. I think my voice is pretty clear, I believe, Sandeep. I just checked few of the questions, okay? So please write down all your questions, otherwise we would run out of time. So please start popping up whatever question you have regarding the course, or if you have some questions regarding what with your expectation of the webinar or the course, please start writing them down. Yeah. So I believe I hope I'm quite audible and loud and clear. So can I get a quick yes from most of you? That I'm loud and clear, I'm audible, you are able to see my screen. All right, thank you very much. I'll take up all the questions, that's a promise. Yep. Let's move ahead. For Hadoop application to be truly accessible to your organization, they need to be smoothly integrated into your overall data flow. Talend Open Studio for Big Data is the ideal tool for integrating Hadoop application into your broader data architecture. Talend provides, this is one of the key area why you should take an interest in Talend for Big Data. Talend provides more built-in connector or components, okay? Talend provides more built-in connector components than any other data integration solution available, with more than 800 plus connectors. Please make a note of that. More than 800 plus connectors, whether you talk about Cassandra, MongoDB, HBase, Hive, Big, Scoop, anything. Talend just gets integrated seamlessly to these areas. And now that makes it very easy to read and write from any major file format or database or packaged enterprise application. Okay. Now, for example, in Talend Open Studio for Big Data, you can use simple drag and drop configurable components, create the data integration flow that move data from delimited log files into Hadoop Hive, perform the operations in Hive, and then extract the data from Hive into your MySQL database. How cool is that? Without writing any code. Now continuing on the same front, more and more enterprises want to scale up in Hadoop Big Data technology with the use of existing pool of Talend. Now if some of you who are attending this webinar, some of you are people manager, some of are working as a manager, senior management folk, or technical architect, those who have the burden of managing the existing pools, scaling them up in the big data without taking a burden of I don't know Java, I can't learn Java at this stage, MapReduce programming is just not cool. You should take interest in this course, right? And now reduce the overspending on MapReduce programmer, which is pretty new and experience. Now, high rise of job trend in data scientist, data analysis, Talend also comes with basic business intelligence transformation, which reduces your dependency on simple Excel dashboard-based tools. And that's a powerful line. Gartner is featuring Talend as the best technology in the market for data integration and big data. Already told you that 3 major players in big data industry, Hortonworks, Cloudera, Mappa, have already tied up with Talend for big data solutions. And mostly, and this is one of the reasons why none of our students, irrespective of what background they have come from, they never found this course to be hard. In fact, they always gave us a feedback back that they had a myth that learning big data was a challenge, and they can't learn big data or Hadoop if they don't want to do the programming. Okay, and mostly any level person, that's why in the industry, can quickly get started on it without any much prerequisites. The myth buster, I don't know Java programming. How would this course help me learn and excel in big data? The biggest advantage you get with Talend for big data is there is absolutely no prerequisites. I repeat, there is absolutely no prerequisites to learn this concept. Whether you come with prior knowledge of Hadoop or not, this course has some or other best thing to offer. This is what Talend for big data is claiming. You can learn big data simply, quickly, just like that in 10 minutes. Now learn the big data not in months, but in minutes. Sounds too good, but yeah, trust me, that's true. Whether it's Mappa, Cloudera, Hortonworks, or anything, Talend has all the feathers in their cap. Okay, get the big data without coding. They also provide a sandbox, which is you require a heavy set of machineries to run that, but the setup that we have done is absolutely work fine in any basic laptop infrastructure. I'll show that in a minute. Now, this is what I was talking about. Who can use possibly Talend for big data? If you're a developer or lead or manager or any working professional, it really doesn't matter. Well, my favorite area. Enough of Gyan. Now it's time for you to show some of the real circus. Okay. Now let's all quickly see what Talend can do in minutes, reducing the man hours in doing the MapReduce programming in Hadoop. I'll take a 1-minute break just to peep through all the questions now, shall we? Shall we see the use case, the hands-on? Cool. Keep on popping them, your questions, feel free. Now what issue or address we are going to resolve through this use case. The real-time use case is this combination of ETL and big data, and in this section we will be able to sense the true power of Talend for big data. Now this is the banking industry use case, even though I have masked the data, but this is the real use case, okay, which I have done a POC for one of my previous clients. All right, I have masked the data for the confidentiality of it. Now, this is one of the challenge we had been given. At that point of time, Talend has come up really well. Now, addressing the challenge in growing business with the use of big data, we will use the big. We will also use basic business intelligence. Okay. Now, this is the use case. A leading bank has initiated a new product launch campaign across the cities. Okay, try to visualize this use case. A leading bank has initiated a new product launch campaign across the cities. Post campaigning, once their campaigning is done, the bank now wants to analyze the collected data to increase the business and attract more and more customers. They want to do a basic analytics, but they do not want to overspend on expensive analytics product and more importantly, the expensive analytics professional. Okay, and any organization, for the sake of it, if it's a financial organization or retail or airlines or healthcare, any organization, for the sake of it, if they deal with data, then obviously they will be maintaining a data warehouse or management information system. So obviously they will be having some or other ETL tool or integration tool. Now this is where Talend will be a really good bet. They can just seamlessly integrate it with this without jumping into the new horizons. Now, how quickly can the huge log files will be analyzed, made some business value out of this data within seconds? Now, wanted to know, explore the big data, Talend for big data? Then now join us in the next exciting this webinar, and we will quickly see how beautifully Talend does the trick without any complex programming. Now when you will see, you will believe it, right? If that is not all enough, the same Talend can also generate basic graphical interpretation of that business data to show you that it has all the goodies in its bucket. Okay, let's move forward. What environment I am using? This is for your reference. To show this use case, I am using Talend Open Studio for Big Data version 5.5, which you can download. That's free of cost. I'll also tell you from where. You can simply go to Talend website, go to the Talend for Big Data product, and then you can, I think the latest product they have is 6.0. So anything you can download, that's fine. I'm using Windows 7 operating system, which is a 64-bit machine. And in order to connect to a big data, which is a single node cluster, my laptop, I have made it now a single node cluster hub. I am using a free sandbox provided by, again, Hortonworks. Similarly, Cloudera also provides, and Mapper. Mapper I'm not sure, I never use, but I've used Cloudera as well. So you can take any of that. And my settings are, I'm using the laptop is having a 4 GB RAM, and it's a basic i3 processor laptop. Yes, I'm not lying, I'll just show you that with this basic settings also you can run big data use cases and just impress your senior management, showing the use case that we really don't require fancy hardware to start up with. How cool is that? This is the use case snapshot, which we will see in person. We will run the job. Now this will show you a combination of the integration, HDFS, pig. We will be using pig, not hive, and then it will generate a basic business intelligence graph. So I'll just explain you very quickly, and these are all the Talend jobs. Okay. And before we jump into that, I just want to tell you that this is the salary trend taken from national salary trend from Indeed for Talend developers. Okay, they are not only used on data integration, they are also being used heavily now on big data. It's just a lack of knowledge. All right, now let's quickly go to the hands-on area. I hope all of you are able to see. Okay, so in terms of the environment, as I told you, this is my Talend Open Studio for Big Data 5.5, right? And this is my Hortonworks Sandbox 1.3. This is my command line prompt of the sandbox, which is running. Okay, and now this is my URL, the web access, the way you can access it through a web browser. The same sandbox or the Hadoop box you can also access through web browser. Okay, so in short, the requirement is this particular requirement is that most of its banking campaign analysis that is happening across India. This bank name is XYZ. All the campaign is happening across all the cities. Okay, across all the states. Now each of these cities and state, they have collected the data individually, and within the same state also you can have a different campaigning booth. So they were not maintaining any proper names in terms of the file names, okay? But within the data, within the singular data within those files, formats are all same. So what sort of data they would be capturing? They were capturing datas. I'll just tell you also the metadata that we are using. The data is being captured in 4 different fields. One is state ID. State ID stands for whether it is, I have taken few samples like Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, like this, okay? So 2-letter characters stands for state ID, and then the place, say Bangalore or Mumbai or Hyderabad or Delhi, right? And then how many number of applications they have distributed, and how many number of applications have been successfully converted into customers. So that means at the end of the day, if simply with this data, I do not want to overspend on any expensive business intelligence tool, I do not want to spend too much of money on any Hadoop based application, I do not want to overspend money on my data integration application. Rather than I am looking out for some solution which is easy to use and which can almost give me a flavor of more or less all the scenarios, okay? So I receive many different type of files, okay? So my first challenge was to gather all these files, prepare a central file which I can possibly use for my summary making, okay? That is my step 2 is summary making, and then step 3 is to prepare the dashboard kind of graph, okay? So on the very first step, this is a big data job where I have not written any code anywhere. Simply what I am doing is using this particular component, the first component that you see, this is connecting, okay, let me use a marker, I think that would be better. Alright, this component will let me connect from Talend to Hadoop, my Hadoop box, okay? And then once I'm connected from Talend to Hadoop, obviously the files which are coming from different campaigning centers, those people might not be having direct access to my Hadoop box or my big data area, right? So they must be dumping it into some server. So this particular component will transfer all the files from the local server to Hadoop, okay? So this is for file transfer. Now, once all the files are being collected in one particular directory in Hadoop, this particular component is going to read one after other file, and using these two components, I am going to merge and prepare one single target file, which is nothing but just collection of all file, and I made them into one file, single file. Alright, then as soon as this particular file is available, okay, and it will be having data from all the files, right? Now my next step is to prepare a summarized data. So say for example, I want to sum up all the cities coming from the same state, their total application received and their total application converted, because I don't want to keep these information segregated, because I have to obviously demonstrate the numbers in terms of each state and each city, right? So this particular area that you see, this is I'm using pig scripting, okay? So there's a basic difference. Some of you may or may not be knowing this, but still I'm telling this irrespective of some of the audience here they know and some of the audience they don't know. In big data, we have two concepts. One is how to store, and the second is how to retrieve the data. Storing is through HDFS, retrieving is through MapReduce programming. Now, till the time this Java MapReduce programming was a hit, it was fine, but most of the people were not able to get benefited. So, looking at that, industry have started developing two more new concepts called Pig and Hive. Hive is nothing but equivalent to the SQL, but at the end of the day on the back end, it is MapReduce programming. Similarly, scripting methodology is Pig. Okay, So what Talend does, Talend has just developed connectors and logics. Now the greatest part is I do not have to learn some 5 or 6 different technologies. If I know Talend, I know everything. I know HDFS, I know MapReduce programming, I know big, I know high. Alright. Now what I'm doing here is, as soon as this file is generated, which is a combined data from all the files which have been collected from different campaigning booth, this particular component is taking up that combined file. It is aggregating the data and it is storing the result into the HDFS directory, where in user root pig banking. Okay, and from where it is reading from. This is where the entire data got dumped. Okay, user root banking input merged banks.txt, and now this will start reading the merged bank.txt. Okay, this particular component will read this file and aggregate the data and produce this file which is in HDFS. Okay, now Talend will generate this graph. So it will generate this graph in the local, and I have used a component to transfer that file again back from HDFS to the local. And the name of the local file is bankgraph_input.txt. Okay. And in third step, I'm going to run this job which is reading bankgraph_input.txt, and it will prepare a solid graphical interface. So let's just quickly run all these 3 jobs one by one. This is my job 1, which is collecting all the banking files and prepare one view file. I just hit the run button. And the beautiful thing about Talend is, you might be having this question in your mind. So Talend is a single window architecture technology, okay, or tool. My running, my designing, my scheduling, everything happens on the same window. I do not have to open 4 different odd windows. All right. I will take up all the questions. I am taking note of all the questions. So this is my step 1. I am running a MapReduce. Instead of running a MapReduce programming, I am running a Talend for big data job, which is doing a alternate to the MapReduce programming. I am not writing any code. Okay, so see, my machine is only a 4 GB RAM and i3 processor, and I am running some 4 or 5 heavy softwares. So obviously it is taking time to building the job. I have also tested the same things in a 16 GB RAM machine, and they just run in fraction of seconds. Plus my sandbox, my big data box was also up and running since quite a time, so that's why it is taking time. Okay, so the job started now. So connection is okay. You can see the OK button came here. Okay. There is some error. The error came. Okay. Alright, so I think I had run this job before. So this file already exists. I have to, okay, so there are some few of the tricks that you need to know about Hadoop or big data, which anyways I will explain during the class. You cannot basically append a file in Hadoop, or there is one more issue, you cannot really go into a directory of Hadoop. You just have to work on the absolute paths. I cannot do cd a/b/c directory, right? Now I think the job will run perfectly fine. See, the job is successful now. So I just overwritten the file which was created before. So the connectivity is okay. So what I'm doing here is, only if the connectivity to my Hadoop box is okay, then only I'm running the job. Okay, so there is a dependency here. So if the connectivity, because of some issue, if the connectivity is erroneous, then my job will not run. Make sense? Now it has picked all the files that has come in the directory and it has prepared one file in the HDFS itself. So I'll just show you the file now. Where does it put the file? It has created this file in user root banking merged. So there are two ways of viewing this file. Either you go to your command prompt. If you are comfortable utilizing your time in the command line, so what you need to do is Hadoop fs minus cat this particular file merged banks.txt. Okay. The same file I will show you through the browser also, which is very easy. Alright, see, the file has already been created. For Karnataka state, if you see, this is not a summarized file, okay? This is just a grouped data. So these individual records, they are all coming from different files, okay? Now Karnataka, Bangalore, there is a collection which is 6 have been distributed, 3 have been accepted. Then the second record that you see, they have written the Bangalore with a small b. It really doesn't matter. Talend will also do data cleansing for you during the data integration. 9 distributed, 4 have been turned successful. Like that, this is the file. Now, if we want to see the file from, we have a very good graphical Hortonworks box, user, root, what was the name? Banking input, merged banks. Banking input, merged banks. Same file. Make sense? So now the same file has to be used as a summary using the pig scripting or using the pig in the, instead of MapReduce, we are using the pig. Okay. So it will pick up this file, this particular file, and it will prepare a summarized data. Okay. So I'll run this job. And you will see there are a lot of map reducing log that will come on the background. So Talend for big data is like a cruiser. So if you use it for smaller records, you are underutilizing it. But once it gets started, then it just hammers down, right? Now you see, now all the MapReduce programming is running on the background. We have not written any MapReducing code anywhere. We have simply used drag and drop. Now this is a log file. I'm just explaining the use case in very detail. We normally don't do it, but I want everyone to understand that this is what actually happens in Talend and this is what Talend is capable of. So this will show now the percentage of completion of the mapper and the reducer on the background. 50% is complete now. Now as soon as this file is ready in the HDFS, I'm also using a file transfer protocol between HDFS to local, which we can run and generate the dashboard graph. I mean, instead of we want to study the numbers, simply looking at the basic dashboard, I can tell which area or which state is doing a good profit or doing fantastic. Okay, the job is completed successfully. Okay, and let's see if the pig has created the correct file or not. User root pig banking. Okay, user root pig banking. Okay. All these things I'll teach during the course also. Normally in MapReduce, Everything through the reducer will have this naming standard. Anything with the mapper will be having a naming standard. See, it has aggregated now the data. Andhra Pradesh, AP, now it is with Hyderabad. It has 5 distributed, all 5 successful. Brilliant. For Karnataka, Bangalore, 54 distributed, only 23 converted. Okay, so like that, it has prepared 1 record each as a summarized data for each of the location. Now this data we will feed into the graph and Talend will generate the graph for you. How? This input data is being fed here. Okay, is brown graph input. Then using logics, basic logic, okay, no programming, basic logic, we will generate the graph where this is getting generated here. So I will just quickly run this job so that you can see the timestamp of this data being created. This is running. In the meantime, let me open the file, the dashboard file. Okay, the job is running. So you will soon see now this particular file timestamp will change because it will get generated now. See, now on my machine it's 10:17 p.m. on 23rd July. That's how it got generated. This particular JPEG is called banking analysis. This particular file. Okay, banking analysis. Now if I open this, please pay close attention. If I open this, ta-da! So I just have to look at this picture and within 3 or 4 seconds I can make out that who is one of the best performer here in terms of relativity or in terms of relative percentage of how many distributed and how many have been done well. Okay, easily you can make out that, right? So this is how the complete cycle of this big data exercise or the banking use case I had prepared for you. Okay, so using 3 step-by-step job running one after other. This is achieved, yeah. Time to take up all the questions. I will start with the beginning. First come, first serve, whoever have asked the question. Now I have 10 to 15 minutes on my hand. Alright, so start writing up those who were waiting to watch the use case or hands-on. They might be having some question on their mind. Start writing all your questions down. I'll just take up the names and the question and I'll answer them one by one quickly. Now, Amit Gupta has asked, can we do everything what we can do with big data? I'm confused for either Hadoop or Talend being having background of ETL Informatica. No. See, Amit, simple thing. You ask yourself or anyone in the class who wants to judge whether you should want to go for a plain vanilla Hadoop map reducing using course or you want to go with a Talend for big data course. Ask yourself a simple question, whether you want to learn through programming or whether you want to learn through tool where your life is simple, drag and drop, a lot of time is saved, and then you can utilize that time even to learn cooler stuff like Mahout, you have Spark, you have Scala, all of that. Okay, so in simple one-liner answer, if you want to avoid and don't want to do MapReduce programming or Java programming, then this is the course, my friend. All right. Yes, Vimal. ETL means any tool. Vimal Kanan asks, yeah. Yeah, Pradeep, you asked this question very beginning, whether I'll show hands-on or not. Yes, we had already shown hands-on. Vimal Kannan, Data Stage Informatica, they are also similar to, they are also good in market, but if you compare big data, Talend is way ahead of them. And if you go to Gartner, just go to Gartner's website and see where Talend has been placed in comparison to the other market leader and industry leader and player. And when Talend have started, Talend just have started from 2006, but Talend is way ahead of the game in big data industry. All right. Srihari is asking, is Talend another component on Hadoop stack? I mean, how can it handle petabytes of data if it is not on Hadoop stack? Yes, Srihari, see, simple thing. Hadoop is an ecosystem. Talend is just a cap sitting on the ecosystem and taking advantage of Hadoop's faster storing and faster power with its complementing data integration feature. Hadoop is not smart himself without you write smart codes. Say for example, there is unstructured data. You want to write a program to analyze that unstructured data, to read and make some sense out of it. Hadoop cannot do it by its own. It needs instruction. That exactly where Talend makes a boom. Talend complements that area because Talend's forte or power is already data integration and data analysis. They only needed to do what? They needed to develop smart connectors to Hadoop. That's exactly they did, and they instantly a success. Alright, I hope I answered your question. Mayank Goel is asking, so Talend is like middleware which is connecting different sources and converting that to MapReduce jobs to be run on the Hadoop. Well, your second part I can agree, but it's not a middleware. Okay, so its primary, their core primary is data integration and big data. Because it is based in Java Eclipse based platform, Talend, right? So it complements, so that MapReduce programming backend or Hadoop comes natural to Talend, right? There is, unlike other ETL tools, they had a tough time. So that is the reason running, whether you are running a Talend job or whether you are running a MapReduce job, it's all of the same, but your effort, your learning curve, and your more or less your debugging skills in the programming level of course is higher and it is cumbersome, right? If working with big data is easy with Hadoop, will MapReduce programming becomes redundant? No, absolutely not. It will not redundant. Okay, because at the end of day on the backend MapReduce program only is running. But obviously people are not aware that such kind of tool also exists which makes life so easy in the big data area. Rajkumar is asking what are the other ETL tools available. I would not be able to comment on that, Raj, but what I know that other open source technologies like Pentaho and then Informatica also have some basic connectors. Where are they up to, how much they have done progress, I don't know. But one thing I know for sure, none of these tools are available for free of cost, where you can either they are limited with the number of days trial, whereas in Talend you can literally develop your POC without any limitation of timeline. Now Srihari is asking, is it only open source ETL tool supporting Hadoop? Can you compare with any commercial ETL tool like Informatica? Yeah, I do. As I said, I think that question is being answered really, right? Informatica does support, that's what I heard, but I've never tested it by my hands. But what I understood is that tools like Talend, they are more predominantly contributing to the open source community because everything is you get is free of cost, and this connectivity is something that I have worked out and I found out somehow, I have figured out after doing a bit of R&D, and that's obviously with any free tool, that is the obvious area, right? Now Amit is asking, how about normal ETL tool, big data versus normal ETL tool, like reading a file, doing cleansing and loading it? I think that's not easy in big data. Amit. For everything you have to write program, but for it, that is, see, that is where you, I think you answered yourself a very important question. ETL is already loaded with a lot of features of data analysis, data integration, data cleansing, data quality. These are all the things that is anyways required in the big data, right? Because if big data is will only always talk about I will store efficiently and I will retrieve data efficiently, then who will take care of the data integrity, data quality, business transformation role? Most important is business transformation, right? Who will take care of that? Now Pradeep is asking, can you show how specifically to connect? Okay, Pradeep, does Talend have server client architecture? Yes, Pradeep, Talend does have server client architecture, and what I'm working now is a client. But since I have done a standalone installation, this is client, this is server. But in typical area, in typical when you will work on the project, and if you really need support, then Talend has. This is a Talend Open Studio, but what Talend gives to the enterprises, that's called Talend Enterprise Edition, which is paid version, and they provides you SVN and other stuff like for check-in, check-out. They do provide support. They have excellent support services. Plus, they also have a very good community forum where a lot of their consultant comes and answer your question, right? Okay, what did we not see? What? Okay. Vimal is asking, is this similar kind of Tableau? No. See, primarily Tableau is a more of a BI and dashboard tool. Talend is more of a data integration and big data tool. But these are some of the additional cool features which they have given, so that for these small things you do not have to use some other tool, right? But their forte, their primary area is big data and data integration and data quality and master data management. Yes, Harshal today is asking a very important question and a very basic question, why we all are here. So, no need of learning Hadoop question mark, Java question mark, exactly. No need, yeah. Mayank is asking, so as Talend is like middleware which is connecting different, okay, I think I have answered that. Rajkumar Ashohan is asking, can we do transformation in Talend? That is the core, Raj. Any damn transformation, business transformation, talk about Talend can just smoothly integrate it. You want to write reusable piece of component, you can do that. You want to kick off this job simply from your command line, you can do that. You want to talk about parameterization, we can do that. You want to write reusable piece of code also, because this is based in Java, you can do that. So everything is possible. All sort of, if you are talking about anything to do with data, that is possible. Sanjeev Panda is asking, in the backend, does it generate MapReduce or Hive query language? It generates MapReduce. Talend for big data generates MapReduce, and Talend for data integration, it generates Java programming on the backend. Srihari is asking, if I already know big data programming like MapReduce and Big Hive, etc., how much will this Talend course add the value? As of now, it looks like we can do all this in Oozie Workflow Manager plus little bit of data visualization. Yeah, so Oozie is there with Talend also. See, I can bet you on something that you would have tough time in MapReduce. If I give you a very weird data, unstructured data to analyze, you tell me, forget about data transformation, applying business rule, and then dumping the data somewhere else. You tell me how much challenge you would face in terms of programming if you just want to read it and bring it to a standardized format. That is one of the area again, Talend will have a upper hand. Because Talend has all sort of connectivity to do stuff seamlessly with the drag and drop. And imagine if there is something goes wrong, since this is a step-by-step approach stuff versus MapReduce programming. I'm not saying MapReduce programming is not good or bad. We are not judging here good, bad, because at the end of the day, backend of Talend is doing the MapReduce programming on behalf of you, making your life easy so that you do only drag and drop arrange stuff as a workflow and get your job done. Bingo. End of the story. In that case, if you have certain issue in your MapReduce programming, imagine how much time and how much effort you have to spend in order to fix the kind of issue. I think that should answer your question. Yeah, Shri. Pradeep is asking, how do we connect to Sandbox? I'll show that, Pradeep. Yeah, Mayank is asking, you can also connect to Mahout here and perform some analysis using machine learning. That I'm not really sure, Mayank, because I have not tried and tested their recent version, which is 6.0. Okay, I haven't tried them yet. You know, Pradeep, there are few things you have to be absolutely sure when you want to connect anything from Talend to any sandbox. You need to know your IP. Okay. So, say for example, I want to connect from here. You want to know the IP address. Okay, and then you want to know you need to do all these settings. And then once you are there, then you need to know which files to transfer where. And other things, these things are some of the advanced transformation that I teach in the class. I scale up people, and then once the data is in, then you can do aggregation and other stuff without writing any SQL query and logic. And then finally, we create some of the transformation rule here. Okay, some of the transformation rule we create here. And then we generate a graph. All right. So I have answered almost all of your questions, and in terms of environment also I have clarified which all environment we are using. Okay. So I believe it's going to be a very learning and healthy webinar session for all of you, and I'm pretty sure I'll see almost all of you during our session. And someone has raised the hand. I think Mohan Matthews has raised the hand. Mohan, if there is something, you can post your question here. I'll be very happy to answer all of them. And I'm pretty sure some of you who had this doubt in their mind, or some of you who want to learn big data but were like little hitch, how should I learn it? There is so much of effort involved in learning MapReduce programming and all. I already know so much stuff. I'm having 10 years of experience. I'm having 5 years of experience. How do I start and all? This is the best platform for all of you. To tell you what, even not big data, let's forget about big data also. Do you know how important is data integration? If you know how to integrate your data, and especially in big data, then you are a very demanding resource at this moment in the market. Let me tell that. Yes. Amit is saying, yes, see in the big data folder and see all the components like Hive, MapReduce and all. Yes, that's right. Yeah, I mean, okay, let me just show quickly what all is there in big data so that everyone would be. Yes, Pradeep, the recording will be available for all of you. Okay, and let me just quickly show what all Talend for big data 5.5 supports. Probably the latest version 6.0 may be supporting more. I haven't done my hands-on on that. Very soon I will do it. It supports Cassandra, as you see. It supports CouchDB, supports Couch database. It even supports Google BigQuery, Google Storage, HBase, HCatalog, HDFS, Hive, MongoDB, Neo4j, Pig, Scoop, and RAC. Almost everything, whatever is hot or whatever is possibly people are working on in big data, it supports everything, right? Cool. So I believe that brings us, all of us, to the end of the session. And if you want, you can download, simply go to the Talend website, go to their downloads and download Talend for big data or Talend for data integration. Okay, and I'm pretty sure, please don't forget to leave your feedback by the end of this webinar. Okay, and I'm pretty sure I'll see a lot of you coming and joining in the class and learning the entire curriculum of Talend and doing magical stuff with the data, and show some of you may be eagerly thinking of showing some of the POC to your organization. Okay, and I thank each and every one of you again on behalf of Edureka for attending this webinar and making it a success. And this is your host SR signing off, and I wish all of you have a good day or good night. Yeah, bye bye.